me be able to move better and sleep better. My readiness score today is definitely the highest it's been since surgery. So glad I was able to do that. Still getting morning sunlight. It's gonna help me get back on track a little bit faster. Good morning. It's early on Friday morning. It's about 6:15. I haven't looked at my Oura Ring data yet. I've been up for a little bit, but last night was the first night that I was able to use my sauna, which I've always found to be very helpful for good sleep. So I'm really curious to see if that has done anything to help with my sleep last night or my recovery score at all. I felt like I slept pretty well. I did wake up early. I've been waking up pretty early, and that's been one thing that's been kind of hard. So I'll wake up a little earlier than maybe I would want to, but then I just feel like kind of awake and maybe a little bit uncomfortable, and so I'm not falling back asleep after that. I still feel like I got like normal amount of sleep for me last night, so I'm really curious to see what my Oura Ring numbers look like this morning. I definitely feel like I'm a little puffier under my eyes like yesterday and today. I feel like everything is kind of moving down because I feel like I'm a lot less swollen, like in kind of my head and forehead feels a lot less touchy or kind of like tight and swollen, and then I just feel like it's all sort of shifting down my face now. Definitely kind of noticing more puffiness and a little bit of like the bruising under my eyes right now. But it all actually feels a lot better. Like I can feel just less sort of tension and swelling around my eyes. I can sort of like move my eyes around more easily. I think it's all a good sign. And this morning is the first day that I can actually do a little bit of weightlifting or kind of start to ease back more into my workouts. Keyword being ease back into it. I know it's going to be a little bit tough. I'm still fatigued. I'm still recovering. And now I've taken 2 weeks off as well, so it's gonna definitely need to be kind of a slow process, but I'm excited to be able to do a little bit of weights again. I think that's gonna help with some of the tension and sort of just like muscular stuff I still have going on, and also just kind of curious to see how it feels after 2 weeks off. But first want to see what my Oura Ring data says about my sleep last night. Okay, 72 is not great, but it's the best it's been so far, I think, since I started this recovery process. And resting heart rate's still elevated. I think that's kind of the main thing that's keeping the recovery score lower. Sleep, yeah. Waking up a little too early, I think, is just sort of affecting my overall sleep, but not too bad. And my resting heart rate is getting closer to baseline, so that's good. Hello. Wow.
You're looking good.
Thanks, yeah. Still pretty swollen. Next time I see you in person, I'll show you first couple day photos. Do some big arm circles. Put that band around your wrists and then flip overhead, stretch. Good. Good morning. It is Saturday morning and I'm very excited because I actually got approval from the clinic to go to the chiropractor. Before I left after my surgery, I was given a number for one of the nurses there who's kind of like the on-call after hours nurse. And she said basically like, if you ever have any questions, anytime, just text or call me. I was asking her about going to the chiropractor and like kind of what the risks were. Like I was just telling her I'm so uncomfortable and I feel like it's kind of actually inhibiting my recovery a little bit just because I think it's kind of interrupting my sleep, and I just feel like it's stressful to be really tight and to have a lot of tension that you're holding in your body. So I talked it through with her, and basically she said, you know, it's fine as long as you avoid any kind of real torque or kind of impact on the head or neck area. I've been going to my chiropractor for like 14 years now. I think he knows me really well. I know I adjust really well, really easily. I know he'll be really careful and we won't do anything that isn't necessary. And I know it'll give me a lot of relief. It will help me be able to move better and sleep better and all of those things. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I think it's going to help me get back on track a little bit faster. Well, that was amazing, and I feel like a brand new human. So glad I was able to do that. Holy cow. Going to run a few quick errands on my way home, but I'm feeling so much better. I literally do not know how people get through life without going to the chiropractor. Okay, after finally being able to go to the chiropractor yesterday and feeling so much better after that, my readiness score today is definitely the highest it's been since surgery. And check out my sleep score. 8 hours, pretty much unbroken, one wake up. This is way better than it has been. Resting heart rate's still a little elevated, but better, and I feel way better. Still getting morning sunlight. Just have to make sure that either I have sunscreen on or my face is covered up. Okay, it's a couple days later and I'm almost at 3 weeks post-op. When I did my 2-week recovery kind of recap update last week, I realized I forgot to cover a few things that I really wanted to mention or talk about. One in particular that was very important that I talked about the week before surgery, the bump thing on my face, scar tissue, cyst, whatever, we weren't really sure what it was. And I totally forgot to talk about what ended up happening with that. So when I went in on the day of my surgery and we were doing all the pre-op discussions and the surgeon came in and like I said, he was drawing all over my face and just kind of poking around and doing all the things that he needed to do, have his plan going into the operating room. And that like weird lump that I had on my face that I had talked to my dentist about, that we thought maybe it was scar tissue, maybe a cyst that had formed after my jaw surgery or after the plate removal. I hadn't had a chance to get into an oral surgeon to get a scan and really figure out what it was. The surgeon who was doing my cosmetic procedures, he suspected it was scar tissue, and when he was kind of poking at it, he was saying that's what he was pretty sure it was, and that he could actually basically use that during the surgery as if it were fat, because we were going to be doing like a fat transfer to fill in some of the lost volume in my face. And so he basically was like, we can kind of try to move that and just smooth it out, make it less visible. Then when I went back for my follow-up before I came back home, he said that when they got in there actually was some like bony overgrowth in that area, and that's kind of what I was feeling in terms of like, because I could feel it in my gum line and you could feel this sort of hard spot a little bit on the outside of my face. So he said there was some like bone overgrowth there. I'm assuming that's probably just from a kind of like repeated trauma there with the jaw surgery and then the plate removal, that can be something that happens. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't talked to anybody else about this, but I would assume that removing the plates out of there, that maybe some bone can just start to grow over that area. But anyway, he said they were able to basically smooth it out as much as they could, make it so that I wouldn't have this like lump on my face there. So I guess a little bit yet to be seen how that's going to play out once all of the inflammation and everything goes down and we really see what my results are. I will say now, if I kind of feel along the inside of my gums where I used to really be able to feel this like lump poking out there, I feel a lot less of that. I wonder if there was maybe also some scar tissue they kind of smoothed out as well. But in any case, it seems like that's basically been dealt with the best it can. It's not going to be something that I would need to go to an oral surgeon for. So I'm actually pretty happy about that, because I feel like now I don't have to go deal with that separately or potentially have some other kind of procedure to remove scar tissue or whatever. It sounds like this procedure was able to have the best possible outcome with all of that. So I guess that was kind of a little added bonus, and I'm curious to see what kind of happens with that when all is said and done. Another thing that I had been asked quite a bit by people is kind of like, how are you feeling about the results so far? Especially once I got past that initial recovery phase when I could kind of see a little bit of the results starting to emerge, even though I'm still pretty swollen. So far, I'm very, very happy with what I'm seeing. Obviously, I still have quite a bit of healing to do. There's still some swelling and bruising. And right now, I feel like I'm a little bit in that awkward phase where like a lot of the inflammation has gone down, but some of it's still there and it starts to get a little bit asymmetrical. I kind of feel like the swelling is sort of like moving down my face, that like I have a lot less swelling above my eyes or kind of forehead area, but that now there's more swelling below my eyes, or that it's just sort of like moving down as it drains. And I remember this with the jaw surgery, that I was warned that kind of the like 3 to 4 month mark there was going to be the time when people freak out a little bit, because the initial swelling is gone, but there's still a lot of like inflammation left. It's healing a little bit asymmetrically or in different areas faster than others, and you just look sort of weird, and then you freak out that that's what you're gonna look like forever. With this, because this process is a lot faster, I feel like I'm kind of in that stage right now over the initial recovery part, but there's still quite a bit of inflammation that's gonna need to dissipate before I really know what everything's gonna look like, and I just have to kind of remind myself not to judge right now what is happening. But still, in terms of, I can see overall what I've kind of seen evolve over these last 3 weeks, I think I'm gonna be really, really happy with the results in the end, and I'm just really excited to see what happens in the next couple of weeks. And then the one other thing I wanted to mention was how helpful it was to have my mom there taking care of me that first week. I don't know if she will see this, but it was really, really nice to have somebody there that is very good at doing caregiving and kind of taking care of somebody like me in that position where I couldn't see. It would have been really, really hard for me to do a lot of the aftercare stuff, even after the first couple of days. Definitely during their first couple of days, like I couldn't see. There's no way I could have put drops in my eyes or really like done most of the stuff that I had to do. Originally, she was just going to stay for the first few days because that was kind of the requirement from the clinic, was to have somebody for like at least the first 3 days afterwards. And then after that, it's possible that I would have been able to see enough or basically been okay to be on my own. And I could have done it on my own from there, but it still would have been just really hard because like I said, I had to do like 4 times a day, putting cream on my face, putting drops in my eyes, putting some antibiotic ointment in my eyes, all of this stuff that would have been just kind of frustrating and difficult to do on my own. And not only did my mom travel out there to stay with me and then ended up extending her trip to stay with me the entire time and really kept on top of all of the care that I needed, didn't freak out about how creepy my face looked for those first few days, and I was really confident and comfortable that I knew that she could do what I needed and that she was going to do a really good job of it and just keep an eye on things and like would notice if anything looked abnormal or concerning. I just felt like that took a huge mental weight off of me to not have to worry about, was I doing all the things? Was I taking care of myself the right way? Was everything healing the way it was supposed to be? And like, it's not the easiest job. There was a lot of instructions and a lot of sort of protocols that we needed to follow to get the best outcome and to really obviously make sure that there's no infection or issues along the way. So it was a pretty big job to take care of me for that week. And I was so uncomfortable. I was not the most fun person to be around. I mean, I think for the most part, I held it together okay, but I definitely was a little more irritable or kind of complainy about how uncomfortable I was. And I didn't feel great and I couldn't see anything, so it's not like I could really engage all that much or be a very companionable person for that week. So all that to say, shout out to my mom for coming and taking care of me, and if anybody is getting ready for really any kind of surgery where you might need help afterwards, but maybe especially something like this where vision might be affected or you're really gonna need some help with the aftercare, you have somebody that you really know and trust and that feel really comfortable around, that you know can do this kind of caregiving so that you don't have to stress about it. I think that is a huge help and will make the healing process go faster. I think I'm gonna end this video here, and then next week will be week 4 of post-op and getting to that 1 month mark. I will have to do updated photos next week. Definitely want to see where things are at a week from now and kind of compare that to 2 weeks ago, the last time I had to do photos, and then just continuing to try to recover, kind of get myself back to baseline, hoping to see some of my recovery data get back towards normal, easing back into activity as much as I can while also still trying to make sure that I'm not pushing too hard too fast, and a couple of other things that are in the works for next week that will be interesting. But for now, thank you so much as always for watching, and I will see you guys next week.